we're here at the park reporting for One Stop Media News, and we're here with
April. I'm a mom of 3 children, 2 grown adults, one 30, one 26, and one 14-year-old.
Michael Anthony Fox Jr., 42, 2 boys.
It's Martin Dabrinzi. I have 3 kids, happily married, and I'm 46 years old.
My name is Irina Palermo. I am 41 and I have 3 kids, ages 8, 11, and 13.
My name is Heather White. I am 37. I have 2 kids, ages 13 and 10.
I was never spanked, but I did witness my older sister, who is 10 years older than me. She was on occasion spanked, but mostly none of that.
Absolutely. My parents believed in corporal punishment fully and completely. Like my mom, if there was any issue where I got in trouble, the belt was out in full force, 100% of the time.
During my own time, my teacher used to spank me. They used to spank, they used to spank us. But now, there's DCF.
Worse, my dad would hit me if I was bad, and it was bad. I learned very quickly not to make mistakes. I grew up in a house where we weren't allowed, children were to be seen, not heard, so it was very quiet. No yelling, no ball playing, no horsing around in the house.
When I was a child, kids would go to the office and be paddled. And no, I don't think that's a place for it.
My parents believe in spare the rod and spoil the child. So when we do something, the first time they will caution us verbally. If we do it again, they will caution us again. Then the third time, we'll get some whooping. Or spanking, or whatever you call it.
Okay, so what are your opinions on corporal punishment?
Well, I believe in a no hitting. I believe in no name calling or demeaning and trying to build self-esteem. But there are moments when a voice may need to be raised if it's a serious matter. Sometimes you need to sit down and explain things to them and engage in conversations, and hopefully it's something that sinks in.
Currently, we're probably too laxed. Well, define corporal punishment for children again.
Corporal punishment is like on the physical side, it's being slapped, hit with objects like a belt or a spoon or something. And then psychologically, it's like being yelled at, screamed at, called names, cussing, lectures.
So I don't agree with hitting children.
For hard corporal punishment, no. But if some of those are defined as some, then maybe there's a middle ground, and maybe some of today's youth needs a little bit of lecturing and a raised voice at times.
Right.
I don't think that anyone can learn properly through fear.
Same. I definitely agree. As someone who experienced it, I wanted to do things differently with my kids because I never trusted my parents because of that. I could never tell them the truth because I knew if I messed up, if I made a mistake and I came and I told you, the immediate reaction would be shoes off, slap, or beating in some sort of way. So it made me kind of close off and not be trusting of them. It also made me kind of rely on myself a lot, which of course causes a lot of mistakes. So with my own kids, I decided that's not what I want to do. I want to build a relationship, not one out of fear, but one where, yes, you can come and talk to me.
I don't believe that children should be verbally abused or physically abused, even if it's not considered abuse. Verbally assaulted or physically assaulted by anybody, let alone their parents.
Right.
So we do not, I have to restrain myself at times, but we do not, I personally and my wife also, neither one of us will spank our children.
Okay.
If a kid does something bad, you use a stern voice to talk to him and let them go. So the next time you tell them that if they do it again, that they're gonna get some punishment. So if they have like a video game or something that they love, they do it again, you take it away from them for like a week. That's the punishment. Then the third time, if they do it, then you give them some little spanking.
Okay, and what do you think about corporal punishment being used in schools?
Well, I would disagree with that completely. I think that would be a parent.
No, absolutely not.
And why not?
If somebody lays a hand on my kid, they're going to have a hard time getting home that day.
That's fair. That makes a lot of sense.
Because if we're not hitting our child or enabling that kind of violence around our youth, I don't believe that anybody should.
Absolutely not. No one should lay their hands on any human being, no matter their age.
Agreed. Definitely not. No.
What are the forms of discipline do you think is more effective than corporal punishment?
I think redirection and guiding and maybe just placing your expectations with what the consequence would be if a rule is broken or not followed. And sometimes just natural consequences are a big factor as well.
Yeah, learning from their own mistakes.
Exactly.
Well, communication is the key. So we have to figure out why the situation that would result in a punishment happened first, and then try to figure out how we can divert from it. Not to say that there's no punishments, things can be taken away and earned back, but you have to address why did it happen in the first place.
Exactly.
And by striking or yelling, so physical or mental abuse, you bypass that and shut the individual down to where they don't want to talk about it. They know that the pain, you got yelled at, you got spanked, the pain hurt for a minute, but it's over. You never address the root cause as to what happened, what started the event to begin with.
Positive reinforcement, pointing out the great behaviors and great choices as opposed to always coming down on a person when they did something wrong, which is always a learning opportunity.
What you got to do is to tell them that what they're doing is bad with a stern voice. That's it. Do not touch anybody's kids and leave it at that. Or you can report to their parents.
Putting yourself in the other person's shoes. So oftentimes if my kids are doing something that I consider to be wrong, I will flip it around and say, well, hey, what if I said something like that to you? How would it make you feel? If I did that action to you, how would it make you feel? Or if your friend did that to you, how would it make you feel? And just make them open to, this is how it makes you feel, so that's how it makes me feel. Let's work on that behavior.
Do you think corporal punishment should be allowed at home?
I believe it should be left up to the parents to decide within the parameters that the adolescent is still in a safe environment. So if you choose to spank your kid at home, that is none of my business. If you are beating your child and it is brought out into the public, I think it's the right thing to do. I'm a religious man, in the house of God and the house of people, we're all created equal and love each other, that we need to stand up for our youth. So if somebody's being beaten, I think that's absolutely terrible and should not be allowed. And it's not allowed, but too many people don't speak up about it.
Yes, because it's in the Bible. If you believe in God, it says spare the rod and spoil the child. So if a child knows that they are going to get some little spanking if they do something wrong, they will not want to do that again.
Right, so to an extent.
To an extent, not to hurt them, just a little 1-2 spank. Hey, don't do that again. Boom, boom. Okay, but you have to talk to them the first and second time.
Right.
If they keep doing that, then you apply a little pressure, at their behind.
Honestly, I think it's really an individual kind of approach, right? So some parents believe that, yes, you do need to be hit in order to be disciplined, whereas others do not. It just depends on how far you go.
I do think this is a free state, and if a child is not physically hurt, and that is not my right to just tell somebody else how to parent.
True. In what ways can we prevent the misuse of corporal punishment as a disciplinary measure?
Maybe by more parent education, especially for first-time parents.
That's a good point.
Parenting classes on how to deal with teens as they go through things. Just a lot of community support, faith groups, just where you have community supporting each other and people to talk to and, deal with your stresses other ways and healthy outlets.
They actually need your help. They're not going to call for it because they're going to think, well, you're going to beat me or you're going to hurt me in some way, so I can't reach out to you. And now they're in a worse situation than where they even started.
That wasn't your age. We call it excursion. So we go to like parks or whatever, and have some fun with other kids, okay? So so if there's something like that is going to be happening, if they are not doing their assignments, you tell them that you are going to take their names, their name out of that club or whatever that kids are going to have.
If I had to choose one or the other, I would say no, simply because of the way I parent, but that's my style. But also, when will we say that's considered abuse? So again, everyone will have a different opinion. So I would just say if I had to pick one or the other, a yes or a no, then I'd say yes, make it not allowed.
I think awareness, letting parents understand that the way that we were raised, especially in my generation, my father's generation, so that my dad was physically beaten a lot more, and it was allowed in school. And then in my generation, I was not beaten often. I really didn't get yelled at. We didn't have a very loud household, but it was very strict. It brought awareness. So we try to keep making it better for the youth. And I think that by empowering parents when they make the right decisions as far as disciplining the youth without getting into violent, physical, or mental abuse on the child.
I love your answer. Thank you so much for being here and answering these questions for us.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. My pleasure.
Oh, thank you. That's a really cool project.
Thank you.
That's really interesting.
Thank you so much.
Yep, that's
Oh, okay.